Hello, folks. Welcome to part two of a Harinam Singh Khalsa episode. But before we get him spilling his beans here on part two, what did you think of part one?
It was really good. I liked it. I liked the energy. I liked the flow. I liked everything you guys were talking about. But before that, let's just talk about getting to the actual workshop itself.
What do you mean, the drive there, or?
Actually, I was going to say the half an hour wait we had outside.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a busy man and he had things to do, and we knew he was doing that, right? But we did manage to catch a little bit of that. Hopefully we show a little bit of the, what would you call it? A meditation retreat?
I would call it a meditation retreat, something to relieve stress, togetherness, bringing community together.
Yeah. Well, I felt the energy. I know when I was in there, I was like, tippy toe, let's not move anything. And I know I almost distracted a couple people there, but they were willingly, come in here. And I didn't want to go, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you noticed that, but it might show on air of our nervousness in the big part. But I think we tried to cut that out, didn't we?
We tried our best.
What part shocked you the most of part one?
I would say the part that shocked me the most would have to be learning that he left home at 14 years old.
I was going to go about the same way, because we asked him about his schooling, his history, his education, and he said he's life smart. He's street smart. He learned his going out, and his mother was a huge part of his life, and a phrase that he shares with us, he goes back to for reflection and to get strength. Yeah. So that was pretty neat story.
Really neat. Another thing that actually really surprised me was how open and how funny, and it's just not what you expect out of somebody of his standing or of his stature.
That's for sure. He's very easy to talk to, very approachable, and he gives you a different perspective. He kind of sees where you're coming from and then sheds some light from a different angle, which is always very refreshing, because you get more out of the conversation instead of just one way of thinking. Should we keep going and spilling our beans here, or should we just get to part two, you think?
I think we should go to part two with Harinam.
All right, folks, we'll enjoy part two of the Harinam Singh Khalsa Spilling His Beans episode. Do you think in our lifetime we're going to see a day where a bomb doesn't go off, where there is world peace?
Not in my time, but my prayer is, and the work that we do, is that our children and their children, and God willing their children after them, will inherit a world of peace, abundance, prosperity, equality, tolerance, and compassion and kindness for everyone. And my prayer is, and always has been, and that's why I work so much to this day with our children and the children of our communities, to infuse into them that strength and courage, because they'll be the ones in the years to come. It will happen. It has to happen. This Aquarian age is the shift. We're in the Kali Yuga, the dark part of it now. We're seeing the insanity, the nonsense, the complete upside down, and people's minds are starting to shake like the tail of a rattlesnake. Depression, this over-medication, all this stuff that's happening.
Non-natural foods.
Right, but the other side is that the consciousness of people like yourself, right, are growing. And you're a young person, and that spread of that consciousness and collective consciousness of those who want peace. Because our weapons won't be guns and bombs, it'll be our songs, our guitars, right?
Absolutely.
I guess not now have to be keyboards with whatever.
Or their iPads or
whatever it is. But, that will be, the weapons of peace shall be the songs of the generations. And so my prayer, that's why I never give up, I never falter in my belief, because I do believe that there will come a time. I won't see it in my lifetime, but I pray that my children, their children, and their children after will inherit a world of peace.
Well, powerful words. I can't repeat what he said in the order of the wisdom, the prosperity, but I'm going to say I hope he's wrong. I hope we do see it in his lifetime. And you know what? I don't see why not. I'm fighting for that. And I'm going to say I hope you're wrong.
Well, good.
But it will happen.
Good, because that was a setup.
It was a setup. The only thing I can actually say you're wrong is foretelling the future. So
who's the real yogi, huh? You know what yoga means, right? You know what yoga means? Your own greatness assured.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you. You're the host?
No,
Who's the host?
You are.
I have a good question.
This whole episode is going off of you. We want to know who you are. I didn't come with anything prepared. I did some research, and then I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I don't want this to be just like any other interview. I don't want this to be facts and figures of history. I'm like, I want to know you. And you've walked into my cafe. I'm not going to say the name to plug it. And we genuinely connect. Whether there's other customers,
we always
connect.
have. From the day we met, just breathe.
And I said, I want our audience to connect to you like we do sitting on the couch. And so that's why we kind of directed you a little more towards the camera, and that's the feel of today. So thanks for opening up. Can we go further back?
Yeah,
now we've gone to
try.
about 13. We talked about, going on. Tell me your childhood. Did you have brothers and sisters?
I had one sister, one older sister, about a year and a half older than me. Not even a year, maybe a year and a half older, yeah.
Get along well?
Brother, sister, sometimes, she's very busy and I don't get to see her as often. When my mother was alive, then my mother made sure that we had, all the family gatherings, and she passed a few years ago, and so it's hard to, but when we can, yes.
Yeah, no, same with you. I have one sibling, and you grow up with the sibling rivalry, but once that passes, you realize family is very important. So we're probably the two closest people in my life, or a couple of friends, my brother, my mom and dad. I mean, you realize how true that statement of there's nothing closer than family, blood over water, right? So.
Except today, we see that we're siblings of destiny, and that we've come together as communities, that yes, our bloodlines are very tight and will always be tight in that bloodline. But today we are siblings of destiny, and all our families merge together as one cosmic family, one growing family, bringing all the attributes and assets and experience that we have and the love in our hearts to create communities. Because today, if we want that peace that you want, I say it takes a sangha to raise a child, right? We need each other. And we are siblings of destiny. So to me, I have family, you can say blood family. I have a beautiful son, 28-year-old son. But we're a global community and a global family. And I've been blessed that wherever I travel to, community always gathers. And it gathers here, it gathers in Ontario, it gathers wherever I happen to be. Traveling in the world, community always gathers when I travel.
It's about creating family and community. Yes. So you do that on a daily basis, and we want to do that in the big picture. Like how many people can say they know their neighbor 3 doors down, and that's where we want to get to. And I always share a story about my grandmother, so I won't share it today because our viewers have probably heard it already. And but in a small neighborhood of India, people know the house 20 houses away or 2 blocks, every single house in the neighborhood, whereas we barely know 2-3 houses down the road. Now you mentioned something at the age of 17, and the maturity level about learning life through your own hippie path journey. Now, I remember being in high school, and this is a personal story, and you're 13, 14, entering grade 8, and high school grade 12, they look like adults. Like as a little grade 8er, I remember looking at our grade 12s, and this is not so long ago. So the grade 12s of 91, and I'm almost 40, yes. They were mature. They seemed like they had a respect kind of shoulders back. Whereas now, it seems like students or kids are kids until 25, 26. You don't see that maturity of say dad finished school. He was working in a field and that's what he did. The focus was there. I'm finding nowadays that there's so many distractions that people aren't really being mature or getting the sense of who they are until they're 25, 26, or even later than that. What do you think? You noticing this difference?
Well, one of the big differences in millennials, I guess is what we call, in my generation, we had to work very hard, and I did when I left home. I had to work in factories, do things. We had to bring some income in, and worked my whole life. I still work. I know the work ethic is strong. It was embedded in me by my grandfather. But with my son, I've given him everything. Now he's been very successful in his things, but I think we give our children more than what we got, that's for sure. And I think maybe in some ways they don't have the same understanding of what it took us to get this. And I know, I'm speaking for myself, I certainly, because of that, made sure that my son and other children who I took on, spiritual children, which I still take care of to this day, are looked after. So I think there's a complacency. There's also, because of of the internet, when I grew up, I didn't have internet. I had infinite, and my Gmail was God mail, it wasn't the other mail. The access to things. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, but today the kids know everything. They see everything. They Google it. They have their cell phones. And the youngest little ones, they know everything about computers and how to go on. My son was fixing my computer. I think he was 10 years old, and he already knew how to fix a computer and put it all together. And then you see some of the TV shows and some of these so-called political leaders out there that are not serving to be a great example for these young people. And they think they can get away with things, the proliferation of drugs, of gangs, of that, which we didn't have that way when we were kids. So I think there's a lot of factors to why that is there, why maybe 2-3 generations behind, maybe your generation, you respected your parents a little bit more, knowing what they had to provide for you, which they did provide for you, right?
They're smarter, quicker, wittier with technology and the ability to access information. But the maturity level, which I think it's a pure thing, because like you said, you didn't want them to have the hardships that you went through, so you wanted to be able to give your next generation more than you had. So I'm not going to say taking a responsibility away from them, but at the same time, you want them to have a better, easier life. So it's nobody's fault. It's just the way life is. You do want to take better care of your kids, and that's not a bad thing. I didn't see the other side of that.
Well, there's a shift generationally, right? There's a shift in consciousness, and these kids are very aware. They're very sensitive. They know a lot. It's a different thinking process that we had.
I definitely think the hippie generation you were talking about earlier, that's coming back. That's the next few little generations of kids coming through. I don't know about the whole bra burning and protest.
I never burned my bra.
No? Really?
Stay away from that.
All right. So I didn't want to bring that up.
You said you weren't getting personal. Come on, man.
Well, hey, you brought up that you...
Oh, shh,
all right.
quiet.
All right. Okay, so we've gone through a journey from today all the way back to hopefully this age, this height or so. Now, something you want to share, something that stood out along your journey that, say you've had a bad day and you're struggling, you're questioning something, and you think of this moment. And this is your moment that just solidifies, like, this is why I'm doing this, and it just gets you going again. Is there somewhere you go and that gives you, or do you pray or meditate?
Well, yes. I meditate, I pray. We all go through things. We've all made mistakes in our lives. There's no doubt about it. I've made my fair share of them. But we have to go forward and realize and understand. And I always look, that's why every day I meditate and start in the morning and I reflect upon my day. I look at some of the past things and, could I have done it better? Yes. If I didn't do it this way, would it have gone a different way? Yes. We can all say that, right? But I can't bring that sorrow into my tomorrow, right? One thing you understand in life as you grow, there's no freedom that's free, and there's no liberation without labor. You have to work at it, and we make our mistakes, we have our successes, we have our failures, but we keep going in life, and meditation, yoga, and that keeps the energy flowing. But it's like a mirror every day, because I do assess myself every day. I do evaluate, did I say something wrong this way? Why did I do something? Could I have been better this way? Did I offend somebody that way? And I look at that and I say, okay, well, because I came up with one thing which I live to this day by, which is I never blame anybody. I never blame anybody. There's lots of principles that I try to live by, but one is I don't blame anybody. So if something goes wrong, I try to understand what was it in me that, facilitated that to have that kind of outcome. Had I done this, maybe the outcome would have been different. But I can't blame, it's because so-and-so, that's, if they didn't do it, then, but I never go that route.
What does blaming somebody do? It's passing the buck. It's not taking
Yeah,
responsibility.
it takes a responsibility off of you to understand your own actions.
Okay.
And not doing bad actions necessarily, but just your actions. And to me, it was always a good balance and check for me. And so by never blaming anybody, I do have to take responsibility and acknowledge that responsibility and then change it. Right? So the other phrase you can...
Being strong enough to do that.
Yeah, but that's the, poke, provoke, confront, and elevate.
Okay.
That elevation always has to be there. So if you talk to those who I work with or our son, they'll tell you that I'll poke into it, I'll provoke them, I'll confront them, but always has to end with elevation. Right? You always have to raise another person. You can't just leave somebody sitting there in the muck. So that's the principle I apply to myself as well. I can't stop. Yes, if I made that mistake, if I'm learning about it, but I can't stop moving forward. So I have to understand it and process it and get through it quickly, not get hung up by it, but change so I don't repeat the same pattern the next time.
Okay, so you have a viewer sitting right now, and he's just listened, or she has just listened, and said, I'm always got anxious, and I always blame myself, but I can't get past it. Can you give a couple words just to let them know it'll be all right? Like, how would they get past their anxiety or something?
Well, anxiety and stress and depression is very, predominant today. It's overtaking. It's a disease. The biggest thing is people are not relaxing and don't want to relax. Medication, and I'm not saying medication doesn't serve its purpose, but a lot of people are taking antidepressants, this sort of thing, which really changes the whole chemistry in your body. And it's very hard to relax. Nervous system is not balanced. We think, well, there's a quick fix, but there's no quick fix. There's no instant enlightenment. Right?
No.
That's why I say there's no freedom that's free. If you're stressed out, if you're feeling that, learn to breathe. The first step is breathing. Deep breathing, long deep breathing. Slow down, close your eyes 2 minutes, 3 minutes, breathe deep, breathe from your abdominal area. Let the breath come through, hold it for a moment, relax it down, do long deep breathing, drink some water, and then assess it. But because our nervous systems are always on edge and we're uptight all the time and we're eating junk food and preservatives and all this and everything else, then our body doesn't get a chance. That goes into the mind. The mind then can't function properly, so there's an imbalance in the hemispheres of the brain and the frontal lobe, and there's no stimulation of the pituitary gland or any of that stuff. And we wonder why we're popping a pill, why we're getting depressed, why. It's because I have a simple philosophy. Don't be depressed in life, be impressed in life. And don't be frustrated, be first-rated.
I like that. Oh, I got lost in your storytelling there. And so basically, it's a cleanse. When we keep the negative at the fresh in our mind, don't bring in the sorrow to tomorrow, because you're starting tomorrow with the negativity of today or yesterday. So live in the now, which you said earlier. It's the power of now. And cleanse. So let go of what's bothering you.
But
breathe, relax, let it go. Okay, I like that idea. What I'm going to say, well, for me, it's soccer. Like, business, work, shop, friends, hang out. If I don't have soccer, I'm a stress case for the rest of the week. I know for me, that's what does it for me. So I guess that's what you have to find as a viewer to get past the stress or anxiety. Find what brings peace to you, or you find the most joy in it, lets you forget about tomorrow or yesterday. And when you find that, find a moment every day to enjoy that. That's what I think. Is letting go of the past.
I see your smiling face, it warms my heart, and I relax. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And when I see the smiling faces of our young people, and I see these beautiful people, these beautiful souls, and if they're happy, I'm happy. If they're unhappy, then we have to look at how we can make it happy. I look to see the light that lives in the heart of every soul. So how can I be unhappy? I can complain. Who's going to listen?
You know how you brought up depression. I was reading we'll talk about some stats. So we looked up some history and numbers, and they're saying 60% of Canadians, the number's actually a little higher, but 60% of Canadians are on medication, some form of medication.
It's true.
Of that 60%, 80% are taking antidepressants.
That's true.
So by fact, actually, about 50% of Canada is taking antidepressants.
That's true, yeah.
And
that's true.
I used to take biology, and the body has natural remedies to. So if you're sick, your temperature goes up to fight the infection. So why would we take a pill that reduces our fever when the body is actually fighting the infection already itself? Why would I take a pill to try and fight it when my body's already fighting? So my doctor's never prescribed anything to me. We're already on that level. He just looks at me and goes, I could give you this and you'll heal in 6 days or 5 days, or I cannot give you this and you'll heal in 7 days. It just, I don't take pills. So now, is there anything that you'd like to share? I know I've tried to go through your history and find out where you've come from, where this path is leading to. You want to go to talk about tomorrow? Do you want to tell me where you're thinking of heading, where this journey is going?
Yeah, well,
and you can tell me near future if there's
well,
seminars or if there's a year or 2 year.
Well, the journey is to continue. We want to spread out the world. We don't have the funding yet really to go as far and as vast as I'd like to go, but we're working at it, and I'm working hard. And just to continue to spread a message, we have our Facebook page, Harinam Singh Khalsa Canada, our YouTube page as well. We have the Anand Lotus Yoga. And it's just a continual journey to help communities grow and work towards peace and give people hope. And, to me, my favorite word is hopeless. Doesn't mean no hope. It just means sometimes a little less, but never no hope. Right?
Hope is a powerful thing.
We have to spread, and each of us are a light. And, it takes one candle to light another candle. Right? And, just keep going around, and as you're doing, and introducing people to new ideas. And just, serve humanity. Humanity needs it. Mother Earth is crying. And we need to serve that Mother Earth.
Absolutely. As Harinam Singh Khalsa ji just mentioned, that his job is to help communities grow. It's hard to have him do this without his backing growing as well. So funding will grow as we support and continue to support. So we'll share all the social medias, all that information, your YouTube channel, all through our own channels.
We appreciate it.
Now, any questions for me here? Like we've gone this way. Let's flip the table here, the chair. You're in the interviewer chair.
How do you see your future unfolding? What would you like to do? What's in your heart?
My heart?
Yes.
You won't make this on me now, the Spill Ur Beanz episode?
You just asked me that I was the interviewer, and you were... Wait, hold on. Who's turning the pages here?
You get this one.
No, forget it, man. I did that too many years. No, you asked me to ask you. I'm asking you very honest.
The near future,
Yes, what would you like to see?
In the near future, we're going to continue doing this, about bringing people together through the talk show of different cultures, backgrounds, faiths, not picking one over another. Sikhism was a philosophy brought forward from mom and dad, and I've shared this many times, and that's why there's 4 doors on a temple, north, east, west, south, and it always says God is one. And it's because we don't know who God is. It, she, he, we don't know. We go by our Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the philosophy of life. We believe in that as the Guru. And we celebrate all faiths. We celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Ramadan, we celebrate, I can name all of them. So the journey right now is the show, but the future goal is, like you were saying, building communities. I have a little idea, which I can't really share right now. I'm sorry.
You've done a lot. You had that calendar that you shared with everyone. And,
that'll be coming up soon too as well.
Years and you're doing your best to... I've watched you a few years. We've watched each other. And, the things, the community, their soccer that you love and your community involvement. And now with this show that you have is, really reaching a lot. And you'll be well known in that. And you'll be very public.
Thank you. You ever seen a brown guy blush before? Am I getting warm or red at all?
But it's true. And not everybody, it's like my mother said, not everybody can do it. Not everybody can get the chance to do it. So use your chance wisely and reach people and teach out. This is the age of reach out and teach out. Right? People say, you're getting disciples. I said, no, I don't want any disciples. I don't want any students. I'm here to train teachers. And that's it. And every student to me is nothing more than a teacher in training. We don't want disciples. We don't want followers. We don't gatherers. We want people who can go out and learn, spread their wings, and help in this world. So I'm here to train teachers and teach technique that I was blessed through my teacher Yogi Bhajan to learn, and continue to share that and grow as a human being. I'm not finished yet. I still have a lot of things to go through, and God willing, mend some fences and keep working.
When we stop growing, we stop learning, we stop living. I said something a week ago or so at a speech, and I'm going to share this before I wrap this all up here. We start off as students in life, as in Sikhya. When you come home from school, your parents always ask you, what did you learn today? And so you would tell them, this is what I learned, Sikhya. And it finally dawned on me that no matter, I'm always going to be a student, but at some point in your life, yourself included, you become a teacher. And you don't have a choice in this. It can be your little brother or sister, it can be your cousins, your neighbors, your friends, but after a certain time in life, they start looking to see what you're doing. And you become a role model. Whether the choice is to be a good role model or bad comes down to you. So don't forget that. Not only are you a teacher, not only are you a student, but you're also a teacher. So be careful who you're teaching and what you're teaching them. So I don't know. I mean, I just learned that lesson recently, and you kind of reflects and say, oh, I am putting this energy out into this world as well.
Definitely, for sure.
And so,
absolutely, and keep up your good work and keep growing, and whatever support you need from our community, our Sangha, just ask. We can reach out to you, and you see we have so many beautiful people, many of which you know, and we'll keep growing and working with each other. It doesn't end. And we'll get through it.
Absolutely.
And that's our commitment to each other. We'll get through. Positive, negative, plus or minus. Yeah. We get through it.
We'll get through it.
And
on that note, thank you very much.
It's our privilege and our
blessing.
honor to be with you.
And
Waheguru Ji Ka
Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Wow. Part 2 was better than I actually thought. Yeah. I forgot having that conversation with him. Well, folks, I think it's about time that we head out, but I got to ask you something.
Yeah.
Where's that shirt from?
What do you mean? Weren't you there? Didn't you see? Don't you have one of your own?
I actually have 2 of my own, maybe 3, because we've been supporting that cause for a few years now. And if you didn't watch a couple weeks ago, we had an episode about Every Girl Matters. It's an initiative that was taken on by 2 women in Abbotsford and is grown, and now it's got an official day in the, was it United Nations, they said, recognized in BC, or?
Oh, I think United Nations already had a day set out, but now they were able to get BC to recognize their own day.
That's right. So October 11th is Every Girl Matters Day, and what a cause. So that was 2 weeks ago. So make sure to go online, check our social media, our YouTube channel, and catch that episode as well. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.